Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic virus.
Feels like you're being charged more every time you get to a checkout or every time a bill lands on your doorstep. The cost of everything that we buy is going up at the fastest rate in years and years. There's two big reasons for this. The first one is the really, really expensive energy bills that we're all facing, gas, electricity. The second reason is fuel costs, which are high water at the moment every time we try and fill up the tank. That is the baseline.
In this world of war, pandemics, inflation, and more wars, Insomniac, arguably one of the greatest video game developers around, gave everyone Spider-Man 2, the sequel to their critical and commercial success, Spider-Man 2018 for the PS4. There's been 5 years of waiting for this thing. 5 years of people joking about how they can really feel like Spider-Man, while the rest of us got older as we patiently waited. So was it worth the wait? Not really, no. The graphics, the audio, the voice acting, the music, the swinging, the open world, the load times, they're all fantastic. All the things that make a good game are here. So then why is it a disappointment? Because while it is a technical marvel, it's a narrative-driven game that fails to get you invested in its narrative. It proudly wears its heart on its sleeve, outright telling us be greater together, but doesn't really give us a reason to invest ourselves in it. So why is this? Why does it fail to do this? What's wrong here? Winding back to the beginning, everything starts not just with a showcase in technical skills with the Sandman fight. It also shows us that Pete can't hold a job. He can't balance Spider-Man with Peter Parker. Miles in the meantime keeps trying to get his college essay done. He's getting ready for a new stage of his life, one where he's going to be more independent. Mary Jane, meanwhile, is a struggling journalist, and Harry, with a new lease on life, wants to make the world a better place with his best friend. Now our big bad.
I've been in your shadow for hours, but you sense nothing. Pathetic.
Our first big bad is Craven. He likes to hunt, and that's all you can really say about him. He's the man at the party who can only speak about one thing, and after you get tired of hearing that one thing, no one cares about what else he has to say anymore. Rarely does he exert himself or show any kind of emotion. He just sort of stands around, and sometimes we beat him up. He does stab Peter, but Peter himself is fine shortly after. So while it moved the plot forward, any emotional story impact is moot. Through open world missions, you can find out that his body has betrayed him. He's sick, and he would like to die during a hunt. Because drama.
There are no good men. Only good prey.
Really, his role is to give room for the real villain, Venom. He needs to push the plot forward, forcing Venom's appearance, and after that, quickly exit the game.
We are not, Harry. We are.
Venom is graphically terrifying. The animations with the suit, his voice, his design, they all add up to a terrifying figure, and it's up to our gang of heroes, Pete, MJ, Miles, and even Harry, to stop him. Except there's also a larger narrative goal with this game. As mentioned before, Pete needs to balance his life better. He needs to spend more time being Peter. That means Miles and the other cast taking on a heavier load. That means be prepared to see the once mighty Peter get thrown around a lot more, so Miles and Mary Jane can show they can handle themselves without him, and in fact, be the ones to save him if needed. Except both Mary Jane and Miles, two of the 4 people who are now meant to save the world, have the personality of hand sanitizer. They're just too good, too clean. Mary Jane's book sells 14 copies, yet she champions it as a success if it at least changes one person. Meanwhile, you have Miles going around finding missing instruments for a cultural museum during an alien invasion. Compare this to Pete's quips, and who do you want to see more of?
Still angry after all these years, Marco? You should try yoga! Must be more of a Pilates guy.
Harry himself, you can't really say anything about him. His defining feature is that he's Peter's friend and his mom died. That doesn't really change. The result of all this is that when we get to the climax, there's no emotional investment on our part. We know they need to stop Venom because what he's doing is wrong, but really we're not cheering on our heroes. That would imply we want to see MJ sell a 15th copy of her book, Miles to go searching for another set of drums, and Pete to get thrown around again. We don't have anything to cheer about for Harry. It's amazing really, because the game isn't scared to just slow the story down to give the player time to get to know these characters and their backstories, but it just doesn't amount to much. We see them at Coney Island or breaking into school as kids during main missions, but the most impactful mission is the side mission with Pete getting his first photo to the Bugle. J. Jonah Jameson, a notoriously horrible person, is pushing a shy, timid Peter to be more confident, encouraging him to be a better person the loud, crude Jameson way.
Hey! Halfway! No, sorry, excuse me, scooting by!
Parker, pathetic! Be a man about it! Show them your manhood!
Yes, sir! Wait, what?
It's all at once crass, but heartfelt and funny. The main ones just show us what we already know, they're friends, and the reward in either case is the plot moving forward ever so slightly. There's also a Danica cast, but that's just boring. She's a moral compass, always pointing towards truth and justice and the quickest way to annoy someone. To get back to the party analogy, she just doesn't get invited. That said, there are highlights here. There's the honey scene.
I didn't know there were bears in these woods. Okay, before we get down to business, there's something I have to tell you. I'm fresh out of honey.
Miles dancing with his mother, Pete hanging up on her when Miles goes missing, Pete raging about how he always has to be the hero, or realizing Casey is holding the trigger to a bomb at the last second, or the realization that you're helping a side character peacefully pass on. It's just that these small highlights, these small moments, can't make up for the failures of the big moments. The moments that are supposed to capture us and leave us in awe and want us to see what happens next. Mary Jane, Miles, Harry, they just aren't that interesting. Nor is it that interesting to see Peter get smacked around again and again. Spider-Man 2, at least narratively speaking, will leave you wanting more. Not because the game blew you away, but because you expected more than what you got, especially if you played Spider-Man 2018. Thank you.